It is nice to be back here in our chapel, St. Andrew's house. The last time I addressed you from this same chapel, we were not having services. So for the past 18 months or so, this chapel had been closed. But it is a joy for me to come back to the same chapel and give this year's address, showing that life is returning to what it should be from St. Andrew's house. And we look forward to receiving some of you who are used to coming to stay here whenever you're passing through the United Kingdom. This chapel, I won't say is ancient, but it is an old chapel. It must be about almost 100 years old. And when you look around, you will see some of the reredos, that is the stained glasses, and some of the names of those sisters who had served, and now they are resting with the Lord. Some of you might have received or read or heard that come August 2022, I'll be stepping down as the Secretary General of the Anglican Communion, having completed my 7-year term in this office. You will be hearing some of the things I shared with my colleagues, the staff here at the office earlier on this afternoon. I would want to share my own expectations through two situations I would want us to focus on for my remaining time with you as colleagues. The first is to look at our communion today. As a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, a huge segment of the communion today is wrestling economically. I would even add socially, but there is nothing we can do about the social impact of the COVID-19. And what exactly do I mean? A good number of dioceses within many provinces, particularly in the global south. I mean, Canada is another situation because the situation in Canada is bad. And this is from the primate himself. Most of our dioceses in the global south, from Southeast Asia right through to Africa, to South America, and to Asia, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, economically, they are wrestling, they are struggling. And you know, the COVID-19 does not allow members to go to church. I know I did not explain one of the reasons for this horrible economic impact. Mainly especially in Africa and Southeast Asia, it is when people come to church physically that they give. So when there are no services, there is no collection. And if there is no collection, there is no money. Secondly, the social services to a number of the members have had to stop because there is no means the source of getting money to meet the needs of the people is dried up. And so a good number of dioceses in the Global South, I would want to say a good number, are actually hopeless. The primate of Kenya was sharing with me. You know, they have a lot of investment, shops, houses given out in rent. Because there is no business, their tenants cannot pay. This is Kenya. Tenants cannot pay. So, this is what I mean as the Secretariat of the Anglican Communion. I will want us as a team to give hope to these struggling brothers and sisters, bishops, priests, so that they will be able to meet some of the needs of their members. And how do we do that? As a secretariat, we have the information before us. We know parishes. We know of dioceses that, yes, there has been the COVID-19 pandemic, but they are better off. They are not struggling as much as some of these dioceses and parishes. So I am hoping that the first thing I would want us to focus on is to be able to link parishes to dioceses to parishes in the Global North. And I'm particularly emphasizing parishes in the Global North to be linked with dioceses in the Global South, because I'm a beneficiary of that. Kaduna Diocese, where I was last looking after, we were linked up. I organized my being linked up with St. Paul's, Bloor Street in Toronto. It's one parish. And that parish alone, I mean, forget it. They can easily look after so many dioceses because they are endowed and they are generous. So I'm hoping that as the Secretariat, we will be able to use our connections, the information we have, to encourage partnership so that the rich ones will be able to assist the not so rich or the poor parishes and dioceses in the Global South. That's one thing I would want to focus on. Even individuals. I remember visiting a province, and the primate, after my visit, we met again. He said, Josiah, I'm looking forward to selling my old jalopy. That was the word he used, so that I can get another second-hand jalopy. And it was a primate's meeting. And I said, a second-hand? All right, let me speak with another primate. So I spoke with a primate and said, your colleague there, you know his province. It's very poor. And he needs to change his vehicle. I've been there, and I've worked there, I've preached there. And, you know, I now linked them up. That's what we can do from here as the Secretariat. I linked them up, and after the meeting, I saw the primate smiling. And I said, what's happened? He said, my brother said, I don't need a second-hand vehicle. We can get you a new vehicle. They gave him a brand new Jeep, which actually fits the terrain where this primate works. This is what we can do as a Secretariat. We have the opportunity to travel. We know where there is poverty. We know where there is some plenty. So that will be the first thing. The second focus would be the strategic plan. When I came into this office, I think only 3 are left now. Rachel, Stephanie, and Neil.
And Dee.
Oh, and Dee, that's right. The rest of you, you are new. We had a program, and then we worked on a strategic plan. Now we have a brand new strategic plan. The focus will be, the center will be the 5 marks of mission. And in my letter, my last sentence is that I'm hoping that the 5 marks of mission will be our guide, will be the center of whatever we do. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to now fashion the strategic plan according to our various departments. We'll be able to work it out. How does the strategic plan, or how does our department fit? Which aspect of the strategic plan is for us? And this morning, we did agree that each department will sort of contextualize sections of the strategic plan and sort of work it out. Because as the secretariat of the communion, so we know, we already have our roadmap. The communion expects of us. Our job now is to operationalize what we have in the strategic plan. And so by the time I bow out as the secretary of the communion, my prayer, and we need all of us to work together, is to leave an office that is united. An office that is welcoming. Any priest from anywhere should be able to feel at home here. The office should be focused. And the office should be there for the communion, so that any bishop visiting, any primate visiting, or a priest visiting will say, well, this is it. This is my home. This is my secretariat, because we're here to serve. And how do we do that? I've thought about this, and I believe the best way to do it is to be an example for all of us, in spite of our ages, in spite of our background, in spite of the position we hold here, either director, staff, executive, whatever. It is not the title. What is important is for all of us to work together as a team. I think I've said this, some of you have heard it. When I took on this office, I made it very clear that yes, the Archbishop of Canterbury is my immediate principal. Archbishop Kwang is my other principal. And I said, no one, I will never allow anyone to come between the Archbishop of Canterbury and myself. And I've maintained that. Well, there had been a couple of efforts, but I just smiled. I smiled. And I said to him, this I have heard, and that's the way I operate. And knowing you, I told the person, it is not true, it is not from you. That's the way I operate. And the same thing I said, there's some bishop or archbishop. No one will ever come to me to gossip, because if you come, you gossip, at the meeting I'll say, Stephanie came and said. I'm very notorious for that. So, because I know as a believer, I want to trust you until you stab me at the back. So, friends, we need to live out this unity Christ talks about, to be able to confide in one another, to be able to make mistakes and not be afraid of making mistakes, and to be humble enough to say, I am sorry. That's the only way we can influence this communion. I tell you, we have a lot of booby traps in the various parts of the communion. But we, as a secretariat, we can help. And I want to say this, that within each department, there should be that agreement. We call it in the field of relationships, we call it inter. For example, administration and logistics. There should be that cordiality within the intra. The staff working with Stephanie should be bold enough to say, I don't agree. And Stephanie should be humble enough to say, could you give me your reason? That's the way I work. So you see, if there is that beautiful intra-relationship, then between administration and logistics and, say, communications, the inter-relationship will also be influenced. And then we can work together as a team. And no one from any part, no one from Lambeth Palace will want to come and create division between comms and administration. So, friends, the next 12 months, I will want to plead with you to help and make this sacrifice so that my legacy, therefore, will be unity, respect for differences, and love. And above all, to create a secretariat that is homely. Those outside, within the communion, will always look forward to coming to hold their meetings here, because this should be their home. As this is my last address, I would love and want to seize this opportunity to express our appreciation and my own personal appreciation to the members of the Compass Rose Society. You have been supportive of our ministry to the communion and that of the Archbishop of Canterbury. But for your support, I'm sure we will not have extended our ministries to the various parts of the communion as we now do as a result of your generosity. I want to say that your generosity is not because of Josiah. It is because of your commitment to Christ and the ministry of Christ to the world. And so I would want to say thank you and ask, because the Bible teaches us to ask, and ask that you continue to give this massive support of love as a result of your generosity to the Anglican Consultative Council and the ministry also of the Archbishop of Canterbury in his capacity as an instrument within the communion. I know this is not the last time I'll be seeing you. I'll be very much around, and I hope we'll continue to labor together, love together for this communion to which we are all committed. Thank you and may the good Lord bless you all.
Thank you, Archbishop, and I believe